Cacti. What are they and why is it so difficult to classify them? While there are many unique features that dictate their classification, this video will focus on the effect of genetic drift on the classification of cacti. But beforehand, let's quickly define what a cactus is. If you don't already know, cacti are Utica flowering plants that are commonly known for how well they thrive in hot desert environments. However, they are not restricted to desert environments, as they can also exist in many others, such as forests and even beaches. While cacti have many different forms, all of them have something called an areole, where oftentimes modified leaves called spines grow from. Now let's also define genetic drift. In simplest terms, genetic drift is when the allele frequency of a population changes over time due to a random event. Let's use bears as an example. Say you have a group of pink and green-bellied bears. They're strolling around in a forest when all of a sudden, a hole opens up in the ground. Sadly for the bears in the front, they fall in, and they're never seen again. Then the hole magically closes up, and you're left with 4 pink-bellied bears and 2 green-bellied bears. Now, what does this mean for their population? Well, there's been a shift in allele frequency, meaning the blue allele will become lost sooner rather than later, and this will eventually lead to the bears passing down the pink allele to their offspring when reproducing, shifting the population to having a higher number of pink-bellied bears. This means that one allele can be lost while another remains, not because it's better suited for the species for their overall survival, but because a chance occurrence led to the population shifting to having more of that specific allele. It's important to note that genetic drift can have more of an impact on certain populations. For example, a small population will be drastically impacted by genetic drift as opposed to a larger population. All of this means a new species can evolve over time as more and more generations reproduce. So then, how does this all relate to cacti? Well, there are many cacti species that are isolated and have small populations, as well as long generation times, making them especially vulnerable to genetic drift. And in turn, the evolution of different cacti species is in part thanks to genetic drift. This can all actually aid in the classification of cacti. How? Well, in order to figure out the phylogeny of cacti, we need to look at their morphological traits and genetics to get a picture of the past. And some of the most helpful parts of phylogenetic analysis is what's called neutral characters. These are traits that aren't necessarily good or bad for the species, it's just a trait that it happens to have, which in turn helps us separate their true relatedness from convergent evolution,